G'day, Doggies fans, all things Bulldogs. Might get a few of yous on here tonight. Probably not many, though. I was in two minds whether to come on, but we'll put my thoughts on the record while they're fresh, while I've had a bit of time to calm down and look at that performance, go back through some of the footage and check it out. But, look, it wasn't nice. It wasn't comfortable. It wasn't easy to watch. I felt there was some periods in the game where, so let's look at how the game started. I felt Manly were more dominant against us, even though we got that penalty and put them away early. It shows what having that experience and how much we do miss a player like Josh Adokar. We had positions with that tonight, how much we miss Matt Burton. Hopefully puts to bed any discussion that Matt Burton's a centre, maybe in an international team, not in our team at the moment. We really miss everything he has to offer. I'll be back in a second. Just got to go check something. Won't be a second. We're live and I'm a dad. Sorry about that, guys. G'day, Steve. Man has been a massive loss also. He certainly has. Losing Kurt Mann, his passing at the line really opens it up for the next play. Look, there's a few things in their attack. I think we've had about 6 intercepts in the last, I don't know how long, 4 or 5 matches, which needs to be looked at. Obviously, yeah, you going there, Lee. Did Manly and Cowboys listen to it? I think I'm glad you come on, actually, because I don't feel the Cowboys were as dominant physically. They stuck to their guns. They didn't drop the football. They did a couple of times in good attacking position, but it was all in good area. If you want to make mistakes, you want to make it on the other team's try line or in their 20. We didn't play the ball in their 20-metre line, I think, more than 2 or 3 times in the whole match. Once in the first half and then later in that game. I felt that there was a period where we were grinding with them and starting to win back. We were starting it from our 10, then our 15-metre, then our 20-metre, then our 25-metre. Starting to, force them back further. Our kicks were going deeper. And then we would drop the ball. Drew Hutchison, felt so sorry for him out there. He just had an absolute shocker. After all the stuff he's copped online, personally attacked through Instagram and all that sort of stuff earlier in the season, it all takes its toll. And he struggled as well. But, I felt the Canterbury game plan, they went out there to execute a game plan, but they weren't ticking off boxes they needed to tick off in order to do certain, the final pieces of that puzzle. And I think that comes down to experience. I think it comes down to the coach's experience as well, learning that, if they're sticking to a process to get to a certain point of the field, they're not actually far enough down into that part of the field and then kicking on the fourth and then doing it 3 or 4 times. They did turn the Cowboys around a couple of times, but they sort of marched back up. And everything where we had a really good defensive set, they were able then to match it. So Paul Hutchison did have a shocker, and after 25 minutes, in my mind, I'm like, just take him off now. He's lost all confidence. He's trying too hard. There was a few guys trying too hard out there, and it nullifies your attack. Sewer and Clark were very impressive. I really love the right foot step of Eli Clark. It really helps him, and it's something they'll work out. They weren't quite aware of it. He was able to, get some extra yardage out of that. Sewer did a good job, very solid. I felt Clark's defensive efforts in kick chase. He was right there with kick out the whole game. One of my mates raised that, kick out's nullified in attack because he's doing too much sort of focus on trying to lead that team in the kick chase, trying to, go for big plays defensively all the time. And that's true. And you looked at Helam Lukey, he had no defensive edge pressure to really worry about. He wasn't having to run the ball from his line, whereas kick out was. And then he was able to sort of get the ball in good field position, able to run onto it, and show what all back rowers can pretty much do in this competition. All these athletes, big, tall, fast and strong, hitting their straps. You give them some space and time, they'll tear edges to shreds. And they decided to go that way in that second half, knowing that the Bulldogs had worked hard and had to defend too many sets. We dropped the ball, 7 times in that first half, in bad field position, 3 intercepts in the match. It just was a schmozzle. But I've seen this from Canterbury before, leading into semi-final series. Let's see what everyone's got to say. LBW, how you going, mate? We've run out of juice right before the semis. Our 2 worst defensive efforts the last 2 games. Confidence has been shot. I don't believe it has been shot. I think I really don't. In 1995, we were poor until the last game of the season. Scraped into the semis with a really good roster that, underperformed all season. Ground our way through St. George and then demolished every side we played after that. 1998, had to go on a massive long run, but there was a few, like a draw against Illawarra late in the season. What I'm talking about is that also 2014, we were horrible the last few rounds. So we've had some big losses leading into our grand final year. We lost the first semi-final in 2004. So we actually lost against the Cowboys. I think it was 2nd versus 7th, or 1st versus. I don't think we were minor premiers that year. And then we lost and then had to win every game after that to get into the grand final. So, and then won it. Look, I don't think we're a grand final team, but it is a new competition. And I honestly believe that, they put the queue in the rack a little bit. And while it's not good for the fans to see that, that side on the park is the youngest side that, besides the Melbourne side last week, which was very inexperienced, around some absolute superstars of the game, with nothing to lose, everything to gain, just played fearless rugby league. Eli Clark and Jonathan Sewer out there with Bailey Haywood, Harry Hayes, and all the rest, and a bunch of guys that are still very young in their careers. There's a new level they need to go to if they're going to be contenders. And can they do that? I don't know. But one thing I'm pretty sure of is that they had their eyes on the grand final, which is next week. This wasn't a do or die game. They've been playing do or die games to get to the semis since about round 11. And I've said that on this podcast. They've been up for such a long time. I've respected every opposition we've played. haven't gone out there and said we're going to blow a team off the park. I was confident we could smash Newcastle. That was the only game I've been confident in all the way along. I thought we'd play a lot better against the Cowboys. I thought we wouldn't drop the ball as much. But, yeah, the errors just destroyed us. And, a home final for those Cowboys in Townsville is worth everything. And they didn't rest any players. They brought their best team to the game. Now, I don't think that Matt Burton could have played this week. Honestly, I don't think he was officially ruled out due to concussion protocols. Because if I went and listened to what Gus and that said and what everyone said, tell me if I'm wrong, but if you go off as a Category 2 and then are ruled out, you can still play the next week. It all depends on how you pull up. And I just think they wanted to give him a rest. It wasn't a do-or-die match. Having a home final, we built it up this week as a battle for a home final, but there was only one side out there battling once the heat went on. Our side, I felt they were in the grind and we're starting to win things back. And that happened against Manly as well. And then stupid error, impatience. And that's from some of the players. And I also think there's been some of our better players have falling into that trap of going away from their role and in trying to do too much and take on too much responsibility again. But they're trying to lead. And when you're trying to be a leader out there, sometimes you can try too hard. It is a thing. So, look, I think they're going to get back to next week. It's going to be a grand final. I think they're going to represent our club well. They've done it. They should be proud of their achievements this year, but they haven't won anything yet. They've made the finals. That's good. Long way to go for us. But, we'll get behind the boys and know that I think they'll be ready. We saw how much we miss having a player like Matt Burton, how much we miss having the Fox, how much we miss having even Bronson Cherry out there. While those young guys didn't let anyone down, the confidence and cohesion amongst the side isn't as good. The passing was a little bit clunkier. Obviously, Hutchison struggled with the pace of the game. He was working overtime in defence, did some good defensive stuff. I felt Jamin Salmon was good defensively in the middle. I felt that that Preston and there was really good work from some of our guys, and you may not want to even listen to this, but there's some really good work by some of our guys defensively in getting that drive through the middle. They worked really hard, but because they had to do so much of that, that's our style of play is non-negotiable, right? They're smaller. They have to maintain possession. If they drop the ball against these big sides, which is pretty much every team you play, a side like us, the efforts we put into every defensive set, it really takes it out of us. And that's why we've had to be fit. And if the coach said it, and he said it plenty of times, if we can get even share of possession and stick to the process and not panic and get to the positions on the field that they need to get enough to play that field position game, we've got enough strike and we've got enough game breakers and enough desire to win matches. And that's what our team's done all season, but they haven't been able to do it this week. Last week was, they were still in that game for a while, 24-12, could have easily got it to 24-18. Burton got the HIA early in that second half. They were still coming at the end. It wasn't, I think Manly played really well. And I think the Cowboys did well tonight as well. They've got strike. They've got speed. They've got size. They're full of internationals and origin players. They're not a shit team. They're a top 8 team every day of the week. But our side was blown off the park by them. And that's because we didn't respect the footy. We didn't respect possession. and our efforts in trying to work hard in defence and do all the things that we do well. Just Zach took it out of us. We had nothing in attack. Surprised we even got a try, to be honest. And we even and those poor young guys that had to work so hard, Eli Clark and Jonathan Sewer, had they had some opportunities like in that first half, they could have put on. Those guys can score points. They've got ability, you know what I mean? But they were so tired from all the work they had to do. Like when there was opportunities for them, they had nothing. Couldn't get a pass away. I couldn't get on the outside of their man. And that's fair enough. But, it's all about context about where the game's played. If we don't drop those balls and make those stupid mistakes, I think kicking on the fourth early in the match a few times was a little bit, twice it was okay, but there was another couple of times where it was like, you haven't earned the right to kick from that place on the field. And yeah, but you could see they rested players early in that game, and next week's the grand final, guys. So we'll see how good the Bulldogs are when it comes to next week. Crazy, only a couple of people make a huge difference. Well, they do. Birdo's, this is what probably puts one thing to bed, Klopskop. Nice to meet you, mate. Birdo's kicking makes a huge difference. It's a huge difference to us. And it saves so many of our sets. That's why the very thought of him playing at centre is just ridiculous. But anyway. Our boys need to work on one area. Sure, it's mindset. They need to get a strong mentality mindset. Well, that's definitely going to help. Sarah said it was an easy fix last week against Man, and he said the same thing tonight. Well, I think what the easy fix is not dropping the bloody football. Like some of the mistakes were just dumb. I don't know if they were lazy, but they certainly affected us. If they hold that ball and play that possession game and don't panic, we don't see Helam Lukey making those breaks in the second half because he's going to have to work harder in defence. So he's not going to have the same energy to break tackles. That's what people don't get about this game when they look at it. They look at one back rower, the biggest, most athletic people in the game, whose job is to defend, cramp up edges, to chase, and give and try and shut those things down. And then if their team is winning the middle, they're able to then become an attacking force in good ball. But Helam Lukey made more line breaks in that match than he'd made all season. But it was because of the opportunity it was given through the fact that we were just buggered. Our boys were just drained. They were gone. And that's nothing to do with them not being unfit. They just didn't respect the football. And, yeah, they were, 65% possession for most of the match. Not going to win in that. And when they did put their heads down and start to win back things, they then made another error. So, g'day, Dave. How you going, mate? Get the losses out of the way now. I've had a great run this year. Getting into the top 8 was a goal. We achieved that. We only get better from here. I don't even want to even talk about Mark's comments. They just don't. They don't have any footy IQ. Not that I do, but it's just always so retrospective. Yeah, Dave, look, I think the coaches reset the goal to winning the comp. I really believe that. And I think I'm expecting to see a team that goes out there believing that that they're going to win next week. Whether they do or not's another thing. What happened tonight, I think, will have little to do with what happens next week, whether they play at a core or Brookvale. But yeah, I think it's going to be a delight to see us in the semi-finals again. It wasn't do or die to get into the finals for the last couple of weeks, and we've rested some players. And I think Kickow won't be suspended. Like, why would he be suspended? It wasn't even that late. It was like, seriously, hit him in the shoulder after he just passed the ball. So what? If they get suspended for that, that's ridiculous. Cowboys ran one out and we had nothing. So let's get to that, Mark. So what the Cowboys did was they ran their small men and their big men through the middle until we cracked under pressure. And that's exactly what happened. And then they went wide and tore us apart. If you have watched rugby league, if you don't understand the possession game, man, and at finals time, they had a lot riding on for them to get a home final was probably even more important for them than for us. With their best side on the paddock, right? Except for missing probably McLean, I think. And obviously they don't have Cohen Hess, who would make a difference to them. But young McIntyre's got better and better every week, given the opportunity. One out running. They broke us down till we had nothing left and then put 40 on us. If you don't get that, I can't help you. Our debutants were great, 100% agree. But guess what, Mark? I'll ask you a question. I'll ask everyone a question. Let's do a poll. If Kickow's worth 800 and Harry Hayes is on 100 grand, if that, does that mean Kickow should be 8 times better at everything he does? Because I think that's how some people think. And it's definitely not the case. But anyway, Hutcho did have a shocker. And I felt sorry for him, and I felt sorry for the team who had faith in him. It would have been horrible for everyone. And for all the people who dissed him throughout the year, that's what you get. Karen Hayes were on late too. So, Mark, you think if Harry Hayes and Josh Curran started, they wouldn't have put 40 on us? I don't think that's true. Sorry. Anyway, guys, I'm going to be back in a second. Stick around if you want. I'll be 2 minutes. Welcome back. Skank cunt. That's right. You get it, mate. The Tigers would have played with a lot more freedom, and Parramatta would have beaten us tonight. Souths would have went close to beating us tonight. But I think if we play that opposition, we probably play a little bit freer as well and with less pressure. And, I think eventually we might have competed. But it's all about context. So much to play for. You think a home final is a lot for us to play for, but I honestly believe we're looking at next week. That's just my beliefs are. I don't know that for a fact, but they could have played Burton, I believe. If we had to win this match tonight to make the finals, I think Burton plays. I think they do everything to get him to play, and I think the Fox plays as well, and maybe even Skelton. So I don't think Kicks will get suspended, but I didn't think Crichton would have got suspended either. But I can't see why he would get suspended for. He's hit a player and it was barely late. I felt he was committed to a tackle. And the players got straight up. And look, there was high shots tonight that went unpunished. So they've put the whistles away again because the finals are here. They've hardly penalised anyone for high contact. I thought the Sam Hughes penalty against us was bad. Not that it really changed much. Maybe they score 6 less points or 12 points less because we have some possession potentially. But, yeah, they've put the whistle away with the high contact. That is for sure. We're missing man's hard defence, ball skills, which helps the bigger sides we play Tyre. Definitely, mate. He's got silky smooth hands. He's also that threat of his legs, of his, his footwork through the middle. He's a little bit faster than Jamin Salmon. Look, Bailey Haywood will eventually fill that role in a year or two. And you'll have Carl Lawapu there as well when Kurt Mann moves on. And they'll be able to deal with and play that type of game and level fellas in the middle with their defence as well, because they're all going to get stronger and tougher. There's a lot to love about what's coming. But we've got a game to win next week, and I think that's where the goal is. That's where the focus is, winning that game next week and then playing a semi-final at Shark Park or at no, it won't be. We'll be playing the loser of the Panthers and the Roosters if we win next week. I think that's where we will end up. So, interesting. If Kickout gets suspended, the NRL needs to be investigated. Who's going to investigate him, mate? All we can do is just call out what we see and go from there. I wonder how Hutch would go at lock. I think he'd be more suited at lock, to be honest. But I think Hutch's days of first grade are going to be done. He's broken from what I could see. He give me the field, the Wakeham feels, the Perham feels, the Ockenbaugh feels. Players that have been absolutely crucified by Dogs fans, who always think the coach should have picked someone better from reserve grade and given them a run. But they were the players they were saying to give a run originally, you know what I mean? I have no doubt if Hutch started in reserve grade this year, the way he played in reserve grade, which is he's better than that level, Dogs fans would have been demanding he comes into the side after the first 2 losses that we had to start the season. But that's just my thoughts. Context is everything. And, the butterfly effect's another thing as well, isn't it? You change one thing, it can change everything. But we've got to stop putting the blame solely on one selection or 2 bad selections in hindsight. But I felt sorry for Hutcho. But the coach did the right thing in hooking him. I think he should have probably done it a bit earlier. And Bailey, he's just a gem. Many said Bailey should have played 5'8" this week. I was one of them, and I wouldn't have changed a thing. I would have put Hutchison there. The only other person I would have put there was Blake Taff, but I just think he's too susceptible in the line with the lack of footy that he's had. Hutch defended well, but he had nothing for, he was nullified. He was blowing hard. He had nothing in attack. It was just a really poor display by him, and I felt sorry for him. Michael, you can't keep defending the indefensible. Mark, I've defended you at times, mate, and that's pretty indefensible. The fact that you think Kickow was lazy tonight because he had 10 runs for 81 metres. Gordon Tallis used to average the same. No one called Gordon lazy. Second rowers in attacking position are able to attack, run decoys, cause opposition heaps of headaches when they don't have to do everything in defence. But when they're leading the team, when they're putting it all on the line, when they're doing the kick chase, when they're coming off their own line, when they're doing all the defending, it nullifies their attack, mate. And that's why they use their wingers. That's why they use their centres. And those young guys came in fresh, as fresh as they could be, motivated, and they did their job. Critter took a few early runs. Critter hasn't been the one doing the early hit-ups for us all season. We played that game differently. It won't be like that next week. There will be a much different approach. And the team, if they give away possession like they did, we won't win. Hold the ball, work for the corners, play semi-final football, take our moments. We can win and we can beat anyone. G'day, Paulie. It doesn't matter if you think Curran and Hayes are on too late. I don't care if 99% of the world believe that. You're talking about a side that lost 44-6. And at the 20-minute mark, when it was 6 or 8-0, we were actually grinding in that game. It was ball in play, not many penalties. We were the ones just dropping the ball. They've got to get 80 minutes out of these players. I don't think, in hindsight, maybe you bring on Hayward 5 minutes before. You come on, I think, after 27 minutes. Maybe you bring him on a few minutes earlier. I don't know. But he then played the rest of the match. He's not an 80-minute player yet. He hasn't played 80 for the team. He's been in a rotation with the other lock. Why would they change that now? And he did a great job. Worked his ass off. Great player, who's come on in leaps and bounds. Should, in my opinion, win Rookie of the Year for the work that he's done for our side in his first year of rugby league. But Curran's got an AC injury. He's needled up. I'm telling you, we'll look at it next week more so than this week. 100%. Just my opinion. But they wouldn't have done much. No, they wouldn't have. Hutch had his hands and hips within 7 minutes. If he was lucky, get found out quick in defence. Maybe. I think that might be his position though if he works at it, because he's got the size. He can step. He can break a line. The way we play, though, is not fast enough to for the movements we had. For him to do the defence and then do the edge work was beyond him tonight. So, and remember, he come into the season, and for all those that dissed him, the amount of times he stood in front of the biggest players in the field, freshly running at him and put them on their ass, one-on-one, will never be forgotten by me, because that is why we're in a position we're in today, because the confidence we got out of that sort of stuff. Attack is always built over a season, and it doesn't matter which team you are. When you bring in two rookies, someone said putting them on the same edge was ridiculous. I thought it was a good move. And I felt they let no one down working together. They actually worked really well together. They had more cohesion because they had been playing together in reserve grade. So I think on opposite sides of the field, though. But yeah, really good efforts by those guys. But our attack was clunky. But we've got the ability and the strike to play some footy. The try we scored at the end of last week was really bloody good. Could win try of the year. Went for about 17 sets of hands. So, we've got it in us. But it wasn't happening tonight. I was looking at it from the 10-minute mark, thinking, I think we can stop most of their tries and maybe we can grind with them and win the middle a little bit and not panic. We might be able to win it in the 80th or get close, but no. Everything we did, we had a good defensive set. They had a better one afterward. So congrats to the Cowboys. It was on the line for them. Yeah, Hayward's already signed for next year. He joins the top 30, Steve. So he will be on the open market, though, for 2026 in November. We'll see how he goes. They've got Carla Lawapu there as well and some youngsters coming through the system. I always thought as well, one day, no, I'm not even going to say it. I'll get crucified. Kickout let our kick chase all night. He sure did, Paulie. And I think for anyone to call him lazy or to think he's lazy, they're probably just racist. Honestly, that's what I think. I normally hear that from people who have racist connotations when they call anyone with dark skin lazy. That's my thoughts. That's what I think inside when I hear it. I might be wrong. But yeah, I think Viliami Kikau works his ass off. Maybe, though, but I don't know how you tell a player like that, don't lead the kick chase or time your stuff a little bit. Don't go so hard into that because we need to keep you fresh. Because they do it. Like Critter won't and Burton sometimes don't do much work. But then when they inject themselves, they're fresh and shit happens, you know what I mean? I just kept saying it. Jake Averillo, another example. Didn't do as much work as everyone else last year, but when he came in, he was scoring points. He was making breaks. He was getting line breaks, you know what I mean? Maybe kick out, Well, it's up to everyone in the team to do their job so that he doesn't have to overdo his. And maybe that's a point worthy of discussion. You just don't understand the game if you think Kicks was lazy. Yep. Edge back rowers. He didn't even want to come off. He just wants to be out there and lead the team. He works his ass off. Mate, well, look, Abraha, how you going, mate? Many people are going to say we're out first week of the finals. They said it. They've said it about our teams a lot when we've just scraped in. Not that it has anything to do with next week, because it doesn't. But as I said, I think the goal was for us to make a run, not just make the 8, but make a run within the 8. And that might, we might lose by 50 points next week. I'm certainly not expecting that. I'm not hoping for that. But maybe, just maybe, we come out there and ambush a team next week. Right? They can do it. We've seen them beat teams and destroy some teams this year. And they're not scared of anyone. They're not. We went out there and terrorized the Roosters for half a match. Then with all the stuff that happened, I think got into their heads a bit and they just held on. They destroyed the Broncos. So did a few other teams. We destroyed the Knights twice. We destroyed the Dolphins. We outplayed them. We hung on against Canberra in 2 close games and they've finished the season after we beat them. They won a game, then got flogged, and then they beat the Panthers. They beat the Roosters, and then just overran the Dragons at Cogra. Not a bad effort. And I'll tell you what, if Newcastle and the Dolphins have a draw, the Cowboys, probably the team they don't want to play are the Raiders. I can tell you that now. So might have dodged a bullet there, but we won't know. They're all going to say we're no good. But as I said, through Bulldogs history, you write our team off when it makes a final. You know, you're Nostradamus if we lose. But they've got a habit of putting egg on those people's faces when they make the finals. I've seen it 3 or 4 times in my lifetime. So we'll see. Cowboys control the ruck. We had no punch with the footy. Had 2 youngsters debut on one side and they were outstanding. They did well, Paulie. Such a shame. Well, it's not for nothing, mate. It's not for nothing. I'll disagree with you there, brother. 100% disagree. The amount of knowledge, confidence, wisdom, football IQ that these youngsters, we've still managed to run out a team and debut nearly, again, one of the more players than most teams have had in a season. It's going to do them a world of good. Every game that our team plays together is like gold. And it's not for nothing at all. Definitely not. You know, we may even struggle to make finals next year. But this journey's got a long way to go. As long as there's an upward trajectory over 2, 3, 4 years. Might not be good for a lot of people because you want to ride the emotion. You want to win. You're sick of losing. Sick of being, laughed at. But our Jersey flag team today destroyed the Panthers, right? We won. We made the grand final SG ball. Minor premiers in Harold Matts. Won Lisa Fiola. New South Wales Cup will 1 win out of the top 5, and if they wanted to win that comp, we would win it. Like, seriously, if that was the focus, they would have kept players playing in that team so that they win that comp. They could have easily done it, but they want to win comps in the NRL. That's what it's all about. But these juniors are all putting pressure on them. And we're starting to get that, conveyor belt going of talent. So it gets up to the first grade and it hits a big bottleneck and the pressure that hits there. And when that pressure hits, you start to see egos come out. You start to see bad seeds emerge. You start to see people who have been raised the wrong way come out of the pipeline. And, you start to see families watch their children miss their opportunity. Sometimes just through nothing but bad luck. But what it produces is outstanding footballers. See, when teams are winning in first grade, you don't hear about their reserve grade players getting the shits and people walking out. And you don't hear about that because it's all focused on first grade. But it happens everywhere, is what I'm saying. Every club is dealing with the bottleneck of talent, which is knocking on the door of first grade, putting pressure on that top 30. And we're getting that now, and we haven't had it for too long. And we've mismanaged it. We haven't invested in it. Well, the investment's there now, and it's been showing. We just saw 2 kids make their debut and prove to themselves that they can cut it. Sure, the team got beaten, but they were playing against Origin and international players who all played well, and they held their own, right? Bloody well done. You got the likes of Harry Hayes, Bailey Haywood, Curtis Moran, who's sort of now into his 3rd season but played a full season this year for once. It's all gonna help us in the long run, guys. It's gonna help us. Stick strong. Don't turn on the coach. Don't turn on a player because they fucked up or had a bad game. Back them in. Back this coach in. And if we beat the team coming second last on the ladder and want to celebrate in the streets and hit the drums, fucking get behind it. Don't be ashamed of it. Fucking, that's the Bulldogs. We celebrate when we do well, and we fucking feel sad when we lose. But just because we're sad doesn't mean we have to disrespect our club. It's a fucking honor to be a member of our club. Because you know what? We had some pretty good fucking players play for our club, and they're all part of our club. And Gus and all that, they run the club, but they don't own the club. We all own it together. So fucking be proud of it, because I am. I'm always proud of our club, win or lose. I don't give a fuck. I was proud of our club when we lost all our points for the salary cap. People make wrong decisions. So fucking what? We won the comp 2 years later. Who gives a fuck? Steve, if we can hold 55% of the game and not drop the ball, our mobile pack can tie the other sides. But when not, our smaller pack lose too much energy against bigger packs. Really good point, Steve. And, like, you know, obviously you hold possession, you go a long way to winning the match. But I think the point in this, the substance in what you say is the way we play demands so much. Our game plan demands a lot. And I'm sitting there watching the Penrith side year after year. Everything they do demands so much from their players. And they are so equipped at doing, 80% of their game plan so well that if they don't nail the good moments and the other team outplays them and they lose the match, oh, well, next week it just rolls the opponent, whoever they're playing. We did that for many games this year. Teams that skipped away from us, we reeled them back in. The 2 big losses for me, which sucked, with the Souths loss and the Storm loss. But you know what? And the Cowboy loss, actually. Bailey Haywood scored that try. He scores that try, 5th place is wrapped up. We are 5th in the comp, even after these 2 games. But coulda, shoulda, didn't. Time to move on. The grand final next week. So back to the way it was in round 11. We lost to the Raiders. We had to start beating every team we played to make sure we made the 8. And we fucking went out there and we did it. We didn't play that well against the Raiders. We weren't in the 8. People were probably skeptical. They liked that we were in a lot of these matches and we won a few more. We're giving ourselves an opportunity to fight, and we had to play teams that all had us penciled in as a must-win for them to make their own finals. And most of them have missed out. The Dragons, the Raiders, all likely to miss it at the final hurdle. Knights might make it. We beat them twice. Isn't that funny? Dolphins, we beat them. So put the nail in the Eels season, the nail in the coffin in the Broncos. We've got a lot to be proud about in this season. Heaps to be proud about. And it's not over. They're going to go out there next week and represent us, and we're going to get behind them. And it doesn't matter what commentators say. You know, Michael Ennis sat there calling fucking Jonathan Sewer Eli Clark for about 15 minutes till someone corrected him in the background. And he come and corrected himself. You know, he doesn't even know who these people are. They're so caught up in being media personalities. You know, they haven't even got time to get it right when it matters. These are these two kids' debut, and he's calling Eli Clark Jonathan Sewer and vice versa. Fucking idiot. And I like Michael Ennis. So that sort of shit was pissing me off more than the game. That's how much I was starting to disconnect from the game, because it was just horrible to watch. Because you could just see we weren't as good as the Cowboys, and it sucked. This hasn't been like that for us all year. We've looked like a top 5 team all season to the last couple of weeks. And that's why we're starting to feel scared. That's why some of you are writing us off. But that's all right. Hopefully the guys surprise and delight you. Hopefully you're prepared to, go, okay, we've had a pretty good season, sad finish. Whatever happens now is a bonus, and hopefully we get a few more bonuses over the next few weeks. That's what I hope. I remember a season as well where the Cowboys beat us in a sudden death semi, and they only just got us late. I felt we were the better team. And we limped into that final series as well, and they didn't expect us to beat them that game. And we should have won in the end. That was when Des was coach as well. Forgot what year that was. Maybe 2013. Proud doggy regardless. Yeah, cut out the errors, my brother, and things start to happen. You thought we could make the prelims? Yeah, man, look, one thing I've never done is disrespected this competition. And I'm not disrespecting anyone who may have. I'm just saying, like, it's such a tough competition. A team like the Dragons, they scored, what was it, 54 points between the last 10 minutes of the last match and the first 20 minutes of this week's match. So in 30 minutes, they scored 54 points against their oppositions. and lost both games. So there you go. It's a fucking tough game of rugby league. And it can just swing on a pendulum. So much crowd sport they play so bad in the last 2 games. Yeah, that's the big sad thing, is all the fans that turn up. But you know what? That's what supporters do. And it's what our supporters need to keep doing. Turn up, beat the drums, barrack for the side. And they will keep fighting. They'll keep being in the running. I looked at that Newcastle side this year and I've gone, they just play them so shit. They look like a bottom 4 team for a lot of that season. They are likely to make the finals. But their fan base get out there every week and cheer for them no matter what. They won 3 wooden spoons in a row and they still had a higher average crowd than half the other sides. It tells you a lot about their... I know it's a one-town team with 1 million people in it, but they support their side. Even when they're hurting, they do it. We got to do that all the time. As soon as we started saying we can beat anyone and we can win the comp, the mental state of players felt that they've achieved something already. Potentially. I said that a few weeks ago. We haven't won anything yet. We've won a top 8 berth. And we drop off the intensity. It's all mental. Yeah, I think the goal was reset, though, honestly, to win the comp. Like, they believe they can win it. And they haven't. And they're trying a few different things. They've rested a few players. And, They weren't trying to protect for and against or anything like that. They'd done enough work throughout the season to be able to reset. And whilst it's been horrific to watch in a way the last 2 weeks, look, there's plenty of games in that winning run that we had as well where we were lucky to win as well. But in saying that, they deserve to be where they are. And they've made the finals, and I'm proud of them. And, you know, hopefully they'll make us proud next week with the way they go about business, win or lose. This is what we just want to see them go out there and represent the club really well. I already knew Dogs fans were becoming delusional. Hutch has a hard time breaking a nail. At least now we know the 75, 85, 95, 04, 14 series is bullshit. I know you're feeling pain at the moment, brother, but guess what? It's it literally means nothing. They're just numbers. We win the comp, it still doesn't mean we're going to win it 20 years later, you know. But it doesn't mean it's not over yet, mate. It's semi-finals the next week. It's new competition. Will we be good enough? I don't know. Hope so. Many other teams have stats going for them as well, as including Cowboys in this game. Laugh aloud, racist, please. Honestly, mate, I know a lot of racist people, and one thing they have in common is when they see dark-skinned players, and what do they say? Looks like Tarzan, plays like Jane. A lot of them are racist. I'm not saying you're racist, but they are. Maybe within they are. Just came back from the game. It is what it is. Welcome, Michael. There's a lot of stats I want to say, but people call me delusional. Yeah, well, I've got some more. So Roosters have got their highest points in a season. Last time they did that was in 2004, the year we won the comp. Yeah, Dave, we knew we were in the 8 2 weeks ago, and that's how I see it. Yeah, and it was also going to be very tough to make the top 4 as well. I think they just were like, we're going to make the 8. It's time to get things in order so that we can do that. But we will see. Hopefully, you and I are proven right in that, Dave, and for others who think the same. G'day, Dells DZ. Be healthy, stop aging, and get back to your youth. Read Tree of Life Decoded book. No dramas, brother. Thanks for coming on and saying hello. Paulie agrees. Top 6 teams are different beasts. They're not the bottom 8 teams. They're not, but we did beat the Sharks. We did beat the Warriors. We didn't make the 8. That's right. And we did beat the Broncos. We didn't make the 8. We did we beat the Dolphins. We beat the Raiders. We beat the Eels. We beat the Tigers. We had a win against the Roosters side on a weird night. You know, we lost to the Seagulls. And we lost twice to the Cowboys. So there you go. As soon as we cemented our spot, we put Q in the rack. I expect us to be desperate next week, though. You know, I felt there was a fair bit of desperation there tonight, to be honest. But once it became apparent, they did put the Q in the rack a little bit. I do agree. And knowing that they didn't play Burton when they could have and the Fox tells you everything you need to know. The amount of teams that we stopped from getting into the finals is insane, and a lot of people completely forgot about that. We've been playing finals for the past 3 months. Yeah, that's what I was saying, my brother. Since Magic Round, every game has been a game a must win to make the semis for us. And we're close enough to be in that position, and that every team we played coincidentally was in a similar position to us. And we got there first, cemented our spot, reset our goals, and we'll see if that strategy works out next week. Best defensive team, though. That's a great honour. I think throughout the season over a whole, you could say we were the best defensive side, whether statistically or not. There were games where our defence was just impeccable. Teams couldn't score more than 20 against us for weeks. That's insane. Proud of it. Don't need to be a downer. We've had an excellent season in break. It's all right, people. We all handle things differently, you know what I mean? Despite being sad we lost, I'm still looking back on our season and seeing how amazing our team and club has done since the season started. The recency bias, Luke, welcome, Luke. Glad to have you here, mate. The recency bias I've seen from fans on social media is crazy. Too bad, also sure, but for us to do what we did from how we were last year is great in itself, 100%. But I'd rather do what the Raiders did with a good note. See, that's where I differ, my friend. If they make the finals, yeah, no problem. But having an end of season run when your season's pretty much cooked, well, it's great to get some momentum and belief. And trust me, that Raiders side have got so many good young kids coming through. I expect them to be a top 8 force, a top 4 force moving forward over the next 10 years, to be in it for a majority of those years if they manage things right. They've got the talent, that's for sure. But, you know, it's never done the Bulldogs any favours. There was a whole bunch of, in the years we missed finals, where we finished the season off really, really well. And had we won a couple of games earlier, we would have made the finals. Did nothing for us, unfortunately. Anyway, it was always going to be a tough game to win today. Let's start fresh next week, Brookie or no Brookie. That's how I see it, buddy. The grand finals next week. Maybe the boys think ahead to finals. We won 6 straight against teams that turned up. We can repeat if the boys wanted enough and are willing to die out there. I'm just happy we made the 8 this year comparing to last year. How you going, Hazem? Check out Prodigy Hayes Fishing. He does a lot of fishing, good fishing content creator. One thing today proved is how valuable Burton is to our team, 100%. And at Okar. While those kids did well, he would have burnt Taolangi and all that a couple of times up that wing. Dogs and City, Burton, Cherry and Fox are back. Hutch will be out. Cohesion will be back. As long as we work hard and don't get Sutton or Klein, we'll be fine. Man is huge out, which has been proven. I agree with all that. With more organisation attack, I think they look very out of sorts without him. Dogs to reign supreme in week 1 of the finals. Man, I was willing to give Hutcho a chance today, but damn, he makes it hard for me to back him. Yeah, well, as I said, he was the man under the most pressure, unfortunately, and succumbed to it. And I thank him for the tackles he made in the start of the season, which helped build the confidence for us to go on the run that we did go on. And having spoken to a couple of the players and people from the club, he's one of the most trusted. So the disappointing thing about tonight, while some of the fans are like, I told you so, and rubbing it in his face, you know, they'd be disappointed in the errors he made because they have belief in him. You know what I mean? So it sucked. It really sucked. We're going to be underdogs next week, and we love to be underdogs, 100%, buddy. Tough loss really hurt, but I'm happy we're making the finals. G'day, Big Roo. Welcome, mate. Go the Dogs. Making the top 8 is a real step in the right direction. Next season, when we get more quality forwards like Tupanua and Amon, it'll help us big time. Stuff the negative talk. We'll progress next week. Go the Dogs. Let's look forward to next week. I'm with Matty Johns about the Dogs. I would not want to play us in the finals, and even more now say we lost 2 straight. I'd still not be surprised to see us in the grand final. Our boys will be hungry. Fuck yeah, mate. Love that shit. Hungry Bulldogs. I don't want to hear any more stats, Abraham says. Yeah, Michael knew about this. The Roosters points scored. G'day, Jamie. Welcome, mate. Everyone's on when I'm about to go off. Did you know the last time Raiders won at Cogger, we won the comp? Well, there you go. There you go. Look, it's I don't know what was happening in the Penrith Gold Coast game at halftime. I think it was 10-6 when I left. And come on, did this. G'day, Daniel. Welcome to the podcast, mate. The last time we were the third best. Call me crazy, but I truly believe the last 2 losses are tactical. Watch us shock everyone next week. Well, I don't believe it was we deliberately lost, but I think they were thinking we've made the finals. What do we do to give ourselves every chance to win week 1? I do believe in that theory, and hopefully the boys win, demolish whoever they play, or put up a really good fight that we can be proud of, to know that was definitely the case. Last time we were the third best defensive team, we won the comp. There you go. Steve, Daniel Martin, I was thinking the same. Well, I hate to go with 20 people on here, but look, I just want to say a big thank you to everyone who has tuned in tonight and every night. I've got to go and pick up my missus from a party, so got to go and help her. There we go. Sorry, just reading a text message from my son. So look, it was a tough night. I'm going to be streaming on Wednesday. We'll keep it every Wednesday. We might do a couple more. I've got to put out the centres for our best centres for the All Things Bulldog side. And, I'll be looking when the season's over. So after we play the grand final, I'll be doing podcasts the whole way through, I'm pretty sure. Looking at the kids coming through, reflecting on things, looking at how we can go about stuff. But there's a lot to happen still. But thanks to everyone who's tuned in and said hello and given their thoughts, whether I've agreed or disagreed, been respectful or disrespectful, doesn't matter. It's better to chat and talk. I find that, and everyone who's been on the podcast, it's much better when we talk. We get to see a lot of points of view a lot better when it's articulated through talking. Getting out there and making your fingers numb from typing on Facebook, one battle at a time, it's. I just encourage more people to get on and do podcasts. You can go live. You can do it for free. You can have a chat. Whether you're talking to 20 people, 10 people, whether you got 1 subscriber or 900, it doesn't matter. I think one thing as a Bulldog supporter is anyone who talks about the Bulldogs, wherever there's an article, wherever there's someone talking about it, that's all I'm interested in. Don't really care about listening about anyone else or what other stuff's happening. That's secondary. It's all about the Bulldogs. So anyone wants to talk and chat about the Bulldogs, let me know. You can come on here and have a chat. Like Timmy has, Timmy Gray, Mark O'Connell. We've had D come on. He's a bit crook at the moment. Dave, young Jaden come on the other week. Jimmy Rustler's been on. And Lee come on at the start. The football coach, the rugby league coach. It's great to talk to other people and have a chat about rugby league. So we lost the Cowboys in the 27th week of the season, last time the Bulldogs won the comp. So that was round one of the semi-final series in 2004. Bulldogs lost the last 2 games of the season to finish 7th in 2014, and as it happened again in 2024. Sure did. We didn't get flogged in the last 2 games, yeah, but I think we played teams that weren't going that good. Yeah, I know you are, mate. Like, look, one way of dealing with disappointment is to really lower your expectations and be nicely surprised. I sort of do that a lot. But, contentment is what it's all about for me. And, I've got a lot of contentment out of the performances this year, been a lot calmer, been a lot happier. And that's what the Bulldogs do when they put in performances. It's been a bloody shit show the last few years. So glad that a lot of us fans and you guys out there have had some nice victories and enjoyed some good times this season. The season's not finished, and I'm sure the boys are going to go out there and do us justice. And a good thing to finish on, Michael, he's dealt with a 66-0 loss. His mental state is rock solid, 100%, my friend. So thanks for everyone who joined tonight and come and have a chat. I'm going to go now. Go the Doggies. Get behind them this week. We'll go in as the team that no one expects to win a game, and we'll see if our boys can prove them wrong and ambush a few sides in the competition and hopefully keep that dream alive. Go the Doggies.